All right. Well, good afternoon and welcome to I Am Sure Sports. I am Omar Stennett, and I'm extremely delighted that you have joined us today. To all our subscribers, all our guests, all our followers, we really appreciate your love and your support. You would have seen the premiere of our Friday Big Banger that premiered at 12:30, but we have an interview today, very special guest. We will be speaking with Wayne Shaw, who is the president of KASAFA. We'll be talking for around 30 minutes to, get thoughts from him about, just what is happening in terms of football in KASAFA at this present time. We have to make sure that we have a few of you on. So if you're out there, I know it's a little bit before 2 o'clock, but don't worry about it. Yeah, we have to do this first and get things going. And so, yeah. So once you come on, know you're always free to ask questions, make a comment. But we're gonna send the link out, and in the meantime. But we normally play our little jingle or little introductory video. So just stay tuned and watch it. Remember, if you have a question, feel free to post those questions in the comment section, and we will certainly play them. So here you go.
I am sure sports. You know me there, from coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get the sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never see no game, me no know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here. So, for the day done, you are gonna love over your son.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crap of players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment. Let me know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, man. There you have it, people. And here we have it, Mr. Wayne Shaw. He's, like I said, he's the president of the Kingston and St. Andrew Football Association. Also very instrumental at the Barbican Football Club. A lot of work has been done over there over the years. Really improved. They recently were in the Premier League, got demoted, and when football was abrupted, I think they were on course to make a return to the Premier League. But it's never too late. And so we're going to speak to him today. And so let me just welcome Mr. President. You unmute. So just let me just. All right, there you go. All right, go ahead. You're good to go. Go ahead.
All right, good afternoon,
you can go.
man. Good afternoon to the listeners. You hearing me?
Yeah, man. We're not seeing your face.
Good
Though.
afternoon.
Yeah, man. We're hearing you, but you have to just. Right. You're good. You're good right here, man. Talk now. We're hearing you.
All right, good afternoon and good afternoon to the listeners, and thanks for having me on your show.
Yeah, man. We're not seeing your full forehead, but don't worry if you just, because it's loud enough, man. If you leave the phone and just back off a little bit, if you can keep it right there, you're good right there. Yeah, there you go. Excellent. Yeah, man. Excellent. Yeah, man. So people there, you see him now. You can no when you hear the name, you can match it to a face, right? And so this is President of KASAFA, Mr. Wade Shaw. Someone I have high respect for. I mean, in terms of his management of Barbican, firstly, and also his management of KASAFA. I mean, a federation that has really exemplified good leadership I think every year that they have had a team demoted from the Premier League, they have had a team promoted to the Premier League. In the last 10 years, they have been the most successful federation in Jamaica in terms of championship at the Premiership level, at the schoolboy level. And that's kudos to him and all the forerunners before him. But Mr. Shaw, I know you know more about you than I do. So why don't you tell us, I mean, how did you start out in football? Did you get up a couple of years ago and run for the presidency of KASAFA? You have always been in football from childhood, or it's just a new thing?
No, well, I attended Arden High School. I wasn't really a sport-oriented person, but I played a little football and cricket. Our coach at that time was William Welch, one of the Welch brothers. He played centre for Cavaliers and Jamaica. And it's after leaving school. I wasn't a great footballer, but I played Major League. I represented Maxfield Park, Gordon Town, in Kingston. But administration, I was good at organizing things, so I got into administration. And I started a couple of competitions in my area, Corner League. Then after I started to work with Scotia, got involved with the business house football. I joined as the PRO officer in the 90s, and I became the president. Late 90s, when the only female president, Lorna Franklin, resigned. She had to step down because of work commitment. So I've been around doing business house football in Kingston, and I guess that is where people from KASAFA saw me and asked me to get involved. I resisted for quite a few years until finally Ambassador Stuart Stevenson got me to join the association as the general secretary in 2014. But I've been molded and at the rope start by a lot of people. Richard Roots, Nathan, Carlton, Spanner Dennis, Ambassador Stuart Stephen. These people are my football fathers. And there's a lot more. Chris James, Danny Lynn, who passed off recently.
Yes.
Who in their arms, and I've been learning the ropes. KASAFA, being the president of KASAFA, it's different from the business house. It's a lot of work dealing with the clubs, but I have a good executive around me. And I think we have been doing fairly well. COVID has put us all to football right now in Jamaica. But we're still doing things to make sure that when we restart, we get the green light to restart, we are ready and can go.
Yeah, and that's what I want to get to. I mean, because this is like a year, and I mean, especially for your Super League teams, because I mean, if the leagues, I think the league was just about to start, or probably a round or two, when everything came to a halt. And then you had other competitions that had not been started, and you can go back and tell us that. But so this is like almost a year and 6 months. What are the plans like now? I mean, do you have a manual, a system in place that if you get the green light, once there's a steady flow of the Premier League, your clubs are ready, and as an administration, you are ready in all aspects of the game, from the management level to the player level to the financial support level, to get the competitions from the Super League level to the junior levels, or it would be a phase by phase project?
All right. Well, actually, when the competitions of football was halted in Jamaica, we were 2 weeks away from having our semi-finals and finals for the major and Super League. We were way advanced. We started in early January, and we were almost down to our semi and our finals. As I said, we haven't played football for over a year. I mean, no youth football, nothing. But for KASAFA, we go by a schedule. So if we get the green light to go ahead, in maybe the next month or two, we'll be concentrating on our youth football because we're not playing Super League already. So those competitions that we're not going to watch the competitions until November, where we have our knockout, and then we'll so what we're concentrating on right now is to get our youth football started, our under 13, under 15 competition. But as I said, we have dates for each competition. So that is what we're looking forward to. Getting the green light, start on youth football, and then we'll go into our senior football later in the year.
Okay, so I understand that. So generally, you have a schedule that you work with, and there's a little the internet. There's a little static on your side. Maybe it's the internet, but generally there's a schedule that you operate with. Go ahead. All right, so let's continue because I think
right. So as I'm saying, all right. So the major and
all right, we're having a little bit of we're having a little bit of connection issue. I think the internet on your side is giving a little bit of challenge, so it's freezing. But go ahead and yeah, man, we listen.
Yeah, so I was saying that our major Super League competition will be completed now. So we'll be going into our under 13, under 15 youth competition, which those competitions are compulsory in KASAFA. Also our under 10 competition, which we play in the summer. Okay, so that is what, if we get the green light to start up, we'll be playing our youth football in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. All right. Okay. And so you have maintained man, I'm hearing you, Are you hearing me? You're hearing me?
Yeah, man, I hear you clearly.
Yeah, man. All right. So how have you what programs have you put in place to keep the clubs together? Because I know some parishes, people have actually drifted out of football. And I am sure that there are persons who may not come back into football whenever it restarts because they probably never had the organizational functioning structure from a parish level, and their clubs were probably a one-man band. What has KASAFA been doing to keep its clubs connected and stable in the heights of the pandemic?
Well, during the COVID, we have had seminars, management seminars, coaching seminars. We have a group, a WhatsApp group with all our clubs, presidents, coaches, and we have active conversation re-football in KASAFA. We are negotiating with a sponsor overseas, Valio Academy, to run some youth competition as soon as we get the green light from the government. So we have been active. We still engage our sponsors, hoping to start as soon as we get the go ahead. And we keep our regular council meeting twice for the month. I don't think that when we restart, any KASAFA team will not be participating. I expect all our teams to be back to play football. Unfortunately, UA has been drawn out of the Premier League.
Well, we're gonna get into that because that's something I'd love to hear your take on. But you know what is funny? I saw some pictures of a very popular, and I'm going to call the name, the Froome Sports Ground, and the kind of conditions that it is in. It is. I don't know if football will be ever able to be played on the surface again. What about the surfaces in KASAFA? Because if you're not playing in the football, how do you maintain all the surfaces in all the communities? How are clubs able to do that when they don't have any competition, any resources? You run a lockdown, not just the playing surface, but you may have bathroom facilities or buildings there, or maybe you had stands and stuff. How have clubs been able to maintain the infrastructure?
I think it's kind of different in Kingston and St. Andrew. When you go around, most of the fields are still being taken care of. Some fields have some activity. Most of them still have their youth coming out to practice. When I drive around in Kingston and St. Andrew, and most of the fields are still in good competition. And you know that 1 and 2 wanted to be cut, but they are being done because now that the Premier League has gotten the green light, clubs are expecting that it will trickle down to the Super and the Major League teams, and we'll soon have a restart of football. So most of our fields are still in good conditions.
All right, great. Because in other parishes that's not the case, and so that's good work again. But I have a question here. Someone says, Mr. Shaw, do you believe KASAFA is too large? What are your views on the sustainability of clubs in KASAFA? And I think it is too large, possibly thinking about the amount of clubs that are in KASAFA. And this question is coming from a lot of people believe that there are too many clubs in Jamaica, too many football clubs in Jamaica. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, in a sense, they are correct. But I mean, say for instance, you have maybe in one area you might have 4 or 5 clubs. Yes, I think if we merge, would get some better quality. The clubs would have better players. Um, with too much clubs, the product is not the best. But to be truthful, man's man, no club want to merge with another club. Everybody, you know, this is Jamaica. Everybody want to remain. Santos is not going to merge with a Mountain View or Harbourview or Brownstown, and that is one of the problem right now. But I think that if we got less clubs, we get better quality football because I think the product is spread too thin. Too much footballers.
And the resources as well.
Not getting the quality that we're supposed to get.
Yeah.
But
I think
there's a lot of selfishness. Some people are not going to give up their club, and that is the biggest problem.
Yeah, because recently Rudolph Speed and Danny Beckford were here, and one of the things they were saying is that I think Rudolph Speed was counting the amount of professional clubs, and what he was basically alluding to is that we need to make a distinction. I think Mr. Beckford, Danny Beckford, was saying that there needs to be a distinction between professional clubs and amateur clubs because there are only 12 professional clubs in Jamaica, and there are a lot of other amateur clubs. And what he's saying is that maybe what we can do is count the amount of professional clubs, and then you can have as many amateur clubs. But say for example there were 60 professional clubs right across Jamaica. All the others you could have other clubs because some of these are set up for social, political reasons, but they end up sometimes in mainstream competitions. And should there be a distinction at that level where you say, listen, I mean, you're a community-based club for the purpose of keeping unity and oneness in your community, but we have a professional setup that your club would not qualify for, but you can play in an amateur league. Could that be an avenue that is looked at in terms of, even in KASAFA, seeing that you can't join certain communities? You can't join the team from Maxfield with the team from, you understand me, probably from down some other road.
I understand what you're saying. You're saying. But you see, as I spoke about even emerging, whenever you want change, there's gonna be resistance, even if it's change for the good. But I agree with what Mr. Beckford is saying. But it's gonna take a little time because you're gonna have resistance from some of the stalwarts who are the old people who are been involved in football and the running of club. But I think eventually we'll get it right. But it's just gonna take time.
Yeah, man. I mean, and then you mentioned it that, I mean, at the at the last moment, one of your KASAFA clubs, I mean, pulled out. In fact, I never thought about this, but this morning somebody said one of the things I need to ask you is why wasn't KASAFA brought on board? Like if you have a club that is failing, especially at the Premier League level, just like how companies they will bring in, they will send in a group of people to help and build it up back. Why wasn't a branch of KASAFA assigned to UWI weeks ago to help them in putting in place whatever was necessary to stay in the league and not come out? Shouldn't KASAFA, and that was the question I was asked, and I said I'll ask you, shouldn't KASAFA have played a role in ensuring that they stayed in the club in the league?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I personally and the KASAFA executive, we did not know that UWI was having a problem until a few days ago when we heard it on the radio. We weren't told, and I mean the Jamaica Premier League Association, who meet with these clubs every week, no one said that there was a problem. So I was shocked to hear that UWI was having problem. They're not training with a few days to go before the competition started. So it was kept as a secret from us. So that's why we could not get involved.
Okay, so even when it came out, I know it was late, but is there any intervention? Like, yeah, go ahead.
Before the last in the 2019 season, UWI was really scaling down. There was rumors that they wanted to stop playing Premier League. They changed it from the professional level where they started to use college footballers. So maybe that's why the results were as poor as they were. So there was some form of indication that maybe they didn't want to get involved in the Premier League anymore. But after COVID stopped the competition, we did not hear anything. No one told us that there was a problem. So that is why we did not get involved.
Yeah, but normally though, when a club, especially at the Premiership level, when you see these signs, is there and I remember even Boys Town a few years ago when they got relegated, you kind of saw the signs that they were going down a spiral. I'm wondering if there is a committee in KASAFA that could do intervention. Because I don't think teams really want to get relegated. So is there a part of KASAFA that provides either structural reform or support of some kind to their clubs when they are struggling in the Premier League, or that is left up to or that is more a Super League responsibility or a major league responsibility and junior level? But when it comes down to the Premiership level, those clubs are responsible for their affairs. How does it work in KASAFA?
Well, to be honest, most clubs are responsible for their affairs. I mean, when it comes to the actual football and the playing of games, the KASAFA council would not get involved. If there's any other problems, we are consulted and we'll try to find a resolution. But say, for instance, like when a Boys Town was struggling and looked like they were going down, there's not much that KASAFA could do because that is a football issue there. You understand me? And even with UWI last year, there's not much that we could do also there. I mean, club's not going to want you to come in and try to tell them what to do. You understand me? But what I found surprising is that if there's no relegation this year, I would have hoped that maybe UWI could have field a team, even if it's not the
amateurs
footballers. Amateurs ride out the season and then put plans in place for the new season, which would have started in September, October. But unfortunately, that was not done, and the administrators made the decision to withdraw.
Because part of my issue with it is it can be money is always an issue, but there was more money available now than when you were initially in it in terms of sponsorship money. And my understanding is that all the teams, part of the whole sponsorship deal for the Premier League is that there would be each sponsor would have like the 12 sponsors would have something on the front of the jerseys. So if those monies were given and now there are 11 teams, somebody needs to get back some money. How do, yes, I'm like, how does that work at this stage if those money has been already dispersed to the clubs? And do you give them a next spot and a next jersey? What happens? And yeah, but I don't know if you have an answer for that.
Well, I don't think that the money. I don't think that the monies were dispersed to the club. Cause what I heard Christopher Williams saying is that instead of sharing the money for 12, it will be now be shared for 11. So the clubs will get some more monies. So I don't think it was dispersed as yet. Yes, I know that gears were made and stuff like that, but I don't think they got the lump sum that they were supposed to get.
Okay. All right, see a next question here for you. So what is the way forward for clubs in KASAFA? Number one, fiscally and financially, how do you think clubs in KASAFA can become stable? Because everybody thought like if any club would have all the money they need, it would be UWI, you know, but it is not working. People also thought like Boys Town has such a rich tradition, so money should not be an issue. But we know that, but that's a question for, what is the, fiscally and financially, how do you think the clubs in KASAFA can become stable?
Well, what I've learned since joining KASAFA is that all the clubs tend to target the same people for sponsorship. So it's very hard. The clubs need to try and raise money for themselves, do fundraising. Say for instance, when I go to a game, most of the spectators don't want to pay. They want to come in free. And the turnstile is where you make money. Right? I know when I go to Jacksal, the people have to pay to come in. I have to play a couple matches. But in a lot of the KASAFA matches, people want to come in free. The clubs need to do things, put on whether it be fish fry, some form of fundraisers to try to help themselves, and also to target the companies in their community. And we're trying to hold their hand and trying to show them the way how this is to be done. Some clubs doing it and it's working, but a lot of the clubs are still struggling, even at the Premier League level.
Yeah. You know what I think? I think we need to look at, and you can tell me what your thoughts are on this, is like, because there is an integrity with the organization KASAFA, your impact in terms of getting sponsorship is probably greater than any one club. In other words, wouldn't it be easier for KASAFA to do sponsorship, not just for the league sponsor, but for club sponsors, right? Merchandising, for example, if you had one contract with one jersey sponsor, where that goes to the club, and then you at your KASAFA head office, all the club's gears are there. KASAFA takes a percentage, and a percentage goes back to the club. So if I want, say, a Barbican jersey, I could buy it at the KASAFA online store. A percentage of that belongs to KASAFA, a percentage of that belongs to the club. Because I think the issue a lot of businesses have is how much do they trust the management of these individual clubs to pour finances in them. They would rather probably give the money to KASAFA to administrate it. So why parish associations don't seek funding for the clubs, for the general sponsorship and for individual sponsorship, like what is happening with the Premier League right now? Could that work, or that's just not a feasible way of running football?
It can work, but it's a lot of work. I can tell you. I mean, just to get sponsorship for the running of the competition, it's a lot of work. So the clubs, that's why clubs need to have their own management structure and do their own marketing as the steps, the merchandising, the selling of the jerseys, paraphernalia, stuff like that. I mean, I see Waterhouse does it, Harborview, a couple of the clubs do it. But it depends on the management style. What happens in a lot of the clubs in Jamaica, not just KASAFA, is that yes, you might have a management committee of 10 person, but it's only 2 or 3 people doing the work. You understand me?
Yeah.
So that is one of the drawbacks. But I think we're lacking in merchandising, selling our jerseys. Because people will buy them. People buy them.
Yep.
But I don't know what's going to happen after COVID. You know, COVID has really taken, companies are taking a hit, and I think it's going to be harder to get sponsorship. So we're going to have to find innovative ways of how to get sponsorship and how the clubs are going to survive for the next 2 years until the country is back on its feet.
Yeah, because I think and this is why I brought up this, because I think the truth is the associations in the parish will have to take on a greater responsibility, at least for the next, just because of what is happening in the economy. It's going to be harder. Like 'cause some businesses have probably closed down because of the pandemic. So how would a club be sustained? And I don't know. I've always thought like before a club plays at a certain level, they must have certain things in place. Like what amount of money you have to sustain you, or how are you going to generate? For example, if it takes $5 million to run a Super League campaign, and you have $50,000 in your bank book, in the club's bank book, you only can generate 100,000. How are you going to complete a successful Super League campaign? You know, are these meetings held with the clubs to say, listen, this is what it takes. Here is how we're going to support you as an association. But then you have to do these things to be able to, like I said, keep events. How can we support you? If you're going to keep a fish fry, if you're going to keep a bingo party, here is how. Here is how you can ensure that you collect from the gate. Sell tickets in advance. Send them to the KASAFA office. We are going to create our website where each club can have, you know, that's what I want to know. Like, what support do the clubs have to get some of these things done?
Without divulging too much information, because we're gonna have a press launch to announce certain things. We in KASAFA, we're not seeking partnership and sponsorship just locally. We have signed an MOU with Value Academy in the USA, who they'll be running our youth competitions, all our youth competition, and at the end of it, yeah, they'll be gone. They'll be doing also major and Super League, but they'll be seeking all sponsorship in for KASAFA, and at the end of the day, when everything, the clubs, the profits will be shared between all of us, Valio, KASAFA, and the clubs, a percentage. And also we in negotiation, we have signed an MOU with Rudy Page from out of England, and Brentford, and this was before Brentford was promoted. Division 1. Right.
Premier League, to the Premier League.
We have been, and they won the championship, and they are now.
And they're in the Premier League, yeah.
Right. So we'll be having a symposium in June. Right. We'll be having a symposium in June. I'll invite you to it with which they are part of, and we expect to get some form of support from them. Oops, what happened here?
We're still seeing and hearing you, man. Go ahead.
Hello?
We're still seeing and hearing you. Yeah, we're seeing and hearing you. You can go ahead.
Yeah, we expect to get Okay, support from them. Yes. So we'll be getting support from them, not just financially, but management, coaches. So as I said, I don't want to divulge too much information, but we have been working, and we will be getting a lot of benefit from these two partnership with Value Academy
Partnership.
and Brentford.
Right. Right. All right. So I have a lot of see this question right here. I think I know the answer to it, but I'll leave you to respond. Said Mr. Shaw, as the president of KASAFA, you stand a chance to become the president of the JFF. What is your vision for Jamaica football? I think I know the answer. I think I know the answer to the first part of the statement, and then the question. But I'll allow you to respond.
All right. I'm just going to be as honest. I have no ambition to become the president of the JFF unless a lot of the way it is structured is changed. I don't think what we have is the best
The right
thing for
module.
Jamaica football.
Yeah, it's not the right module.
I mean, I'm gonna get beat up maybe by the other president, but yeah, I don't think it is the right. Not because I don't think the criteria to be a member of the JFF should be because you're a parish president, and I think that is one of the drawbacks in our football. There are a lot of people out there in Jamaica who can help Jamaica football, but I think how the structure is set up, it's not allowing them to get involved, and that is hurting our football. Jamaica football, if we do a lot of things differently, we'll go far away. This team that we presently have can and should qualify for the next World Cup, but we have to minimize the mistakes that we are making, and we just need to get certain things right. But Mr. Ricketts, he's trying, but I think we just need to tweak some things and do some things different. Get some other people involved. I mean, we have some good people involved right now, like Mr. Samuda and so, but there are a lot of people out there who can help the football, help us in garnering and getting sponsorship and money. But we need to get all inclusive and invite these people.
Yeah. All right. I see, you seem like a very popular person. I see even your cousin here from, I think this person there, the cousin from Scotland. Stu Mac. Greetings from Scotland.
Okay.
So
Yes.
I think that would be your cousin. All right, but this one is what use of sports psychology does Mr. Shaw make use of in his process? Here in the UK, most British teams are limited in this regard. Use of sports psychology. Is that a part of the whole KASAFA? I think what they're asking is that in the UK, most British teams are limited in terms of sports psychologists. I think this is and so this person wants to know how involved are sports psychologists in football and in KASAFA.
Well, it is important, but things like those are very costly, and that is a very important part of football, not just for KASAFA, but for the senior team or any sport. It is very important. But it's a costly thing. But it's something that I think that will help.
Yeah, and Stu Mac, if you are a sports psychologist and maybe you can give some input, would love to, you can, a suspect, you can get in touch with Mr. Shaw and see how you can probably provide advice in this area, or how we could look, where we could look
you can get the number and management, and we can have a discussion.
Exactly. Yeah. And this person is asking when we expect to see
So
Super
I don't have a
League.
problem. You can give him the
Yeah,
number, Manning's man, and you can get in touch.
yeah. Once they reach out to me, I'll definitely do that. Karoom Huey is asking when we expect to see Super League and Major League back on the field.
Well, it wouldn't be until January next year, because that is when we are slated to start back. So it wouldn't be until January next year. So even if we're given the green light, we're just going to concentrate on our under 15, under 13, under 10, and the Jackie Bell would start in November, and then we'll go January and we start the Major and Super League.
Right,
But
because
we have
really,
a schedule and we go by that
yeah,
schedule.
because really, normally with your schedule, there would be at this time there would be Premier League qualification. That is what would be happening at this time anyway. So you would not be playing any. All your leagues would have been ended by this time.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. All right.
Right.
Yeah, this person. This person, no ambition to
Right.
be the
You're correct.
president.
And youth football.
Yeah. So this person is saying, become the president and make those changes. Because you know. So they are suggesting that you become the president, which is a point. Sometimes we have to
Well,
be.
that's a possibility, but Manning's man, as you know, how the structure is set up now with just 13 people voting, and so
Yeah.
you understand why I say there have to be changes.
Exactly. The
Because you
truth.
know
The
there's a
truth
thing
is.
there. It's a
Yeah.
country against town, KASAFA against, So there
Yeah. The
have to be a
truth.
lot of changes
Yeah. The truth is,
before
our
that can
football.
become a reality.
Yeah. And part of the thing is that our football has to get to the place where we look outside of the direct management of football. And what I mean by that, like exactly what I said, it shouldn't be something for parish presidents alone. If there is a sport loving businessman or businesswoman who have the expertise of running a large company and feel like I could add value to the transformation of football, why can't they go up to be nominated? And that is where I think the system and the structure need to change to open it up. You don't want to get it to any and everybody, but there
Well,
must be a. Yeah. Go ahead.
that is what I'm saying, because the rule, that's what I'm saying, they have to be changed, because the rule is that you have to be a parish president.
Yeah.
It is limiting the football federation to getting the right person. There are a lot of people out there who can contribute, but they are seen as outsiders. And the way it's structured, they will never become president.
Yeah.
So as I
Yeah.
say, a lot of changes need to take place, and
All
that
right.
is hindering the football.
And listen, Miss, I know you have to run, but I mean, there's somebody else give you two more questions and then I'll let you go. I see when we expect to see under, let me find this one. It's asking about your um under 20 competition. We're going to play under 20 again, which is a KASAFA, and I think this person is from KASAFA. They're asking, will there be under 20 again in KASAFA? Did you stop that before the pandemic? I'm not hearing. We're not hearing you. No, not hearing you. All right. Look like we lost Mr. Shaw there. All right, Mr. Shaw, not hearing you still. So if you're hearing me, see if you can sign in. Oh. All right, listen, we're gonna see if we can get back Mr. Shaw to come back in and just answer some of your questions. Karoom, don't worry yourself. I'm gonna let him answer your question. And so, what is wrong with Jamaica's football structure? I think what Mr. Shaw is saying is so right. Unless the whole structure is changed, a lot of people are not going to get involved. How it is presently structured is that you have to be a parish president to qualify to be the president of the JFF, and so that is part of the issue that needs to be resolved. All right, I think we're getting back, Mr. Shaw. Yeah, man. All right, there you go, Mr. Shaw. So the question.
Sorry about, I don't know what
Yeah, man.
we're having a lot of rain in Kingston.
Okay, so there the first question
So
is we're
as
going
I'm
to.
saying,
Go ahead, man.
hello?
Go ahead. Yeah, man. Go ahead. I'm hearing you. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I'm just saying that we haven't played under 20 we haven't played under 20 football for the last 2 seasons because of lack of sponsorship. But with the negotiations and with Valio and Rudy Page and Brentford, we might be playing it this December once we get the go ahead for football. But it's something that we'd like to. That competition is a feeder for the Premier League teams, and it's a very important competition. So we're trying to make sure that we have it this at the end in December this year.
Okay. All right. And so let me just give you this. This is the same Stu Max saying Unisport graduate Dr. Wade Gilbert, Dr. Bob Rotella, Kenra Visa are some excellent names. Gilbert has lots of coaching concepts on YouTube, as do the two sports psychologists. Lots of great material. All right. This person is asking, what do you think about the overseas players in the national team? Which is, I think they're focusing on the English.
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, no, I don't have a problem with it. I mean, as long as they are qualified and they are good enough, I don't have a problem. But if they are not better than the local based players, then I wouldn't be supported. But I think we have been watching the set that they carried in for the last couple of games. A bit maybe 3 to 4 of them should be in the team. But I don't have a general problem with overseas players in the team.
Yeah, listen, as long as you're a Jamaican and you can play, you should play. And I always tell people, listen, at the end of the day, you're a Jamaican. Whether you're in Canada,
Yeah,
you're
man.
in the United States, you're in Europe, you want to come and do track and field, you come and do that. You want to play football, you come and do that. You want to come and play cricket, you do that. But what we should never do is go and get somebody just because you're overseas, if we have better talent than them over here. And I think that is what the only concern should be. Are you better than what we have here?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, we owe it to our youngsters who are good to give them an opportunity as well. And I think that is the thing. And this person is saying it again, Karoom, you is saying that I think we're losing, it's at the under 20 level that we are losing development. And I agree with this because I was at Constant Spring when like the Dean Sewell and the Chippy McDonald, all of these guys were there, and I was part of the under 20. At that time, they had the under 20 league, the KASAFA under 20 league, but they also had the Premier League under 21 competition going on, right? And I remember like the under 20 team that I was a part of,
Right.
Claude Davis was a part of it, out by Harbourview. Yeah. Go ahead, Mr. Shaw.
Right. I agree with Karoom, and as I say, we're gonna try and get this competition up and running again in December.
Yeah. Yeah, so there you have it, people. I mean, I know Mr. Shaw is a very, 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 very busy man. So he took some, and Friday is a very important and busy day in Jamaica. So he took some time today to come and talk to us. And we really appreciate that. Like I said, Stu Mac, if there's a way you can, make the contact so we can see how how we can make this thing work. You understand me? Um, and get, because sports psychologist is very important. We need it at all levels. Football need it,
Yes, it is.
especially for when we send in guys overseas. It would be good for them to have some of these experiences here. So when they go overseas, they adjust to what is happening there. But I see a next very good question here, or a thought. So are there balances and checks done on these football clubs in KASAFA? As how FIFA audits local federation, does KASAFA audit its club and ensure they are on the right path? Very good question. And I don't think he's speaking of financial audit, just
Yes, they
general.
are. I mean,
Okay.
no. When I took over KASAFA, there were 38 clubs. We're down to 30. Some clubs don't meet the criteria. Every year before you are affiliated, we do our checks and ensure that the clubs are in good order, not just financially. And if you don't meet the criteria, we ask you to take a little time off, go and get back your business in order, and then you can re-enter. So yes, there are checks and balances. We do that.
Okay. All right. Final one. This is Justic Seymour. This is just a comment. He says the who system needs revamp. There shouldn't be no parish presidents or parish FA. Just a JFF should be able to run football in Jamaica, which is kind of what they have in America. There's just the English FA, and that runs football in England generally at all different levels. In America is the America Soccer Federation. They run football. Same thing in Brazil. It's one. You don't have like you don't have a different federation or a body in the states. You just have one governing body that manages everything. Could that be something that happens with the GFF? Therefore, like a person like you would be a part of the management of the GFF. Not in its present structure. If there were no parish association, but one
As
major.
I said earlier,
Go ahead, man.
no, as I said earlier, management, the system needs to change. I am not in a full agreement with how the structure of the JFF is made up. But it's work in progress. FIFA has come down, and there are going to be some changes in the future. Let's hope it's for the betterment of Jamaica football and the JFF.
Man, awesome. Listen, Karu, he answered this question before. He did say there are too many clubs, and he agreed with what Mr. Beckford said last week, which is you probably can have a select amount of professional clubs, and then whoever wants to start amateur thing, they can start it. But I think that was answered. The truth is, you cannot have a country that have 3 million people and you have 300,000 clubs. It don't make no sense. You're not going to have enough resources. Go ahead.
Well, as I said earlier, Kurumi, I agree that there's too much clubs in Jamaica, and it's affecting the quality of players and football that we're getting. So that needs to change, and I think some of the things that the JFF are doing is gearing towards that.
Yeah, man.
But we have to reach, and we can't kill community football.
Yeah.
Remember, in doing that, we can't kill community football.
And this is rare now, because listen, I think
so we have to be very careful.
Watch me. If they had like Eastern All Stars, which is one team coming out of the East, imagine how good that team would be. If you had your Bull Bay players, your Mount. Imagine if you had that team would be good. That means you had more scouts going into communities to look for players. All the business is given into one team. They would have more resources. You'd probably have more people attending because it's only one team out there to watch. So there are benefits to it, But at the same time, a man can keep him little small amateur league in the community. But when it comes to the big thing, there's only one big team out there which will pump all the resources in. They represent us. this is not like a London that's a big city or a New York that's a big, even a big city like New York has only 2 basketball teams, the New York Knicks and the Brooklyn Nets, because for franchise or system to work, it cannot be overpopulated in terms of the amount of clubs, and because you're drying up the resources, you want to ensure that not more than 2 clubs are in a particular city or town, because which I think, yeah. All right.
I agree.
Yeah. Listen, nothing. Let me just answer this. Listen, change is. He said, Mr. Shah is willing to. Let me just support him on this because he's willing to be a part of the change. What he's saying is that for him to be a part of the running for the presidency, how it is presently structured would have to change first. If how it is structured is changed, then he would get involved, right? But based on the present structure, he's not going to get involved because the present structure don't allow for the best people in Jamaica who can give their time and knowledge to this to do it. So it wouldn't make sense because no matter who you put in, the system that is here is set one way. And until you change the system, sometimes it don't matter who you put in place. Because the system is what needs to be fixed and not the people who give into the system. All right? But again, thanks for your time. I mean, every time I say it's the last question, some other question come up. In Jamaica term, where is all our brand footballers? Like the example, Nandalo, Walter Boyd, what is wrong? And each parish could have a team easily. Yeah. That's what we're talking about just imagine if each parish had a team, how much money they would have available to them and people to support them.
Agree.
Yeah. But this is the first man is on, so I'm gonna make it answer few. No, let me get yeah. This is one of the second person answer. Take his question, see if we can answer it, and then we wrap. And so go ahead, and then we wrap, so you can get to finish up all your work for the day, Mr. Shaw.
Kurumi, why we're not seeing people like Nandiro and Walter Boyd? What is happening that we are more playing system football and the skill? We're not seeing a lot of skill footballers and name footballers anymore. The coaches are teaching you system. So even the footballers with skill, it's being suppressed because the coaches want to play a certain way. You have to go on the street side or the corner leagues to see the skilled footballers now. When they dropped into a team, because the emphasis is on winning so much, I think we're taking away the skilled footballers. We're not allowing them to display their skill. You understand me? And I think that is what it's affect our football in Jamaica. We're not seeing the Bucky Barnes, Walter Boyd. We're not seeing those kind of football anymore.
Yeah.
And that is
Listen,
that is the problem. And that is why we're not having so much people coming through the turnstile. Because when you're going to watch a football now, who are you going to watch? Can you name which football area people talking about are going to watch? Like back in the days, So the skilled footballers, they are not there anymore.
All right, Mr. So good. Thank you again. You're gonna meet Karumi because I know you're a coach, up in KASAFA there, So you need to go up by Barbican when things start. And introduce yourself to Mr. Sharman and give him some of your ideas because I know you have a lot of ideas. And remember, SKUMAC, touch base with us. Let us know about that sports psychologist to see how we can implement that in our football. Because I think it's especially given all the things that people go through in their communities, having a sports psychologist is very, very important, given in the context of Jamaica's football. It's one way of getting the best out of people. And yeah, man, Garel, we really hope that what is said and done here is not just said and done. We only can share, give ideas, and use the influence we have to make the changes where we are. And that's what Mr. Shaw is doing. He is in the corporate world, but he's giving his time to football. He didn't have to, but he's giving his time because he has the expertise, and all of us can do that. And so each person in the chat, you know that too. You can start where you are, and sometimes you want other people to make the change. Ganesh, you can hope that the system changes, so you can one day run for the presidency at the GFF as well. It's not just for some people, it's for all of us. It's Jamaica's football. So Mr. Shaw, thank you so much. Remember, please, if you have not, go and subscribe to the channel. I am sure sports, also like and share the feed. Let somebody else see it and hear it. Again, so grateful for Mr. Shaw. Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Thank you to all the persons who are watching, for all the persons who made a comment. Really appreciate your time. It's in the middle of the day, and you took the time to be a part of this, and really hope that everything works out, and looking forward to being a part of that symposium. So just let us know the date and the time once you have that confirmed, and we would, I'd love to be there, Mr. Shaw, because leaders are learners, and we want to learn so we can lead better in the capacity that we serve the people. Thank you so much again for your time, and enjoy the rest of your day.
All right, thanks. And I will send the link, and you can share it with your listeners, and they can they are invited to listen. Okay.
For the symposium.
For having me on your show.
Anytime. This is your show, man. Anytime you have anything you want to, disseminate, you just say, man is man, and this is your show. This is yours, man. We are friends like that. All right.
All right. Thanks very much, and thanks for the invite again, and thanks to all who participated. Okay.
You're welcome. Yeah, man. All right.
Have a good day.
Same to you. Yeah, man. So there you have it, people. Mr. Wayne Shaw, president of KASAFA, joining us today. What a show it was. Always something you need to check out. Please. No way, none. Okay. Near Sovereign. It takes so long to put in your comment, man. Come on, man. Pro clubs. And if ticket sales, and listen, all of us know that there is an agenda we need to continue pushing for. And the agenda is to find a way to influence the powers that be to reduce the amount of clubs in Jamaica, so that we can see better football and more resources being put into specific places. We are too small to have over 1,000 clubs running. We don't need more than 80 clubs in Jamaica. And out of that 80, 60 are professional, max, and 20 are semi-professional. And everything else is amateur. And you have to reach you have to pass certain criteria to get to the semi-pro, and then you have to reach a certain set to get to the professional level. I mean, I run a club, and the same thing I tell people. I should not be allowed to enter the Premier League given my present club structure, because I think I'm at the semi-professional level. And even if I win the league, I should not be allowed. And that's part of the change. So all of us have to push those changes, because there's not enough money to sustain so many clubs. And we keep pushing that, we keep believing that. Yeah, man, but thanks again. Karumi, Miguel, Yanish, Drastic Seymour, Neo Sovereign, respect to all the support and the love, all the persons who are, you're watching but never said much. Much respect. Stew Map, respect. Yeah, man. Stickman, respect. Yeah, man. So, you know how we normally end? We normally end by playing, it is our intro and it is our outro. So here you go.
I am sure sports. You know me there, from coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get the sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never seen a game, me not know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you a go love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crap of players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment. Let me know what your thoughts are.